This presentation by the Affiliated Network for Social Accountability in East Asia and the Pacific will deal with our experience and the lessons we learned from managing volunteers for the third-party monitoring project with the United Nations Development Program. Volunteers can make or break a project, especially the TPM project where we need volunteers for every school we monitor. We want our volunteers to be industrious, patient, and affable, able to interact with co-volunteers, teachers and school officials. We want them to use their own equipment, troubleshoot problems they encounter and correctly answer our survey questions. It is hard work and they need all the support we can give them. The Affiliated Network for Social Accountability in East Asia and the Pacific partnered with 3 organizations to provide volunteers for the United Nations Development Program's third-party monitoring project. I Volunteer, an online volunteer group, and the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts of the Philippines. I Volunteer was able to get volunteers for the readiness review, which had a fixed date, but they were not flexible enough to provide volunteers for activities that changed dates. The dates for the monitoring activities coincided with the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts year-end activities. They were busy and were unable to prioritize monitoring efforts. Except for a Boy Scout troop which provided most of the volunteers for the delivery, installation and report card stages of monitoring. The volunteers, however, had to travel several hours just to monitor their assigned schools. One day, after a day of monitoring, activity increased in the volunteer message board because a mother was looking for her child. Eventually, we found out that he didn't even join the monitoring group. It's sort of funny now, but it wasn't then. So, what can we do to make our volunteers' life better? We should try as much as possible to get our volunteers from local communities. They are already in the neighborhood and need not travel. At the same time, they would want the project they are monitoring to succeed as it will affect their community. Another is through the opening of the Department of Education data. Volunteers can work faster if the information they require need not come from the Department of Education, which has to be sent to the UNDP, then further relayed through the CSOs and then finally given to them. If the volunteers can get the information from the department's website, several steps are cut, and they can work faster. To be truly open, government data need to be available, accessible, accurate, understandable, usable and updated. Lastly, volunteers need to get support when they need it. A help desk that will be available to them will lift the burden on the volunteers. Yes, we want our volunteers to be as prepared as possible. But problems will crop up on the field. And a help desk will assure our volunteers that we value and support them. Remember, making our volunteers' life easier makes our lives easier. The less mistakes they make on the field, the less mistakes we have to fix. Thank you.